Step right up, let's take the dive. Crypto world is coming alive. From XRP to the blockchain beat. Join the crew, we're pioneers meet. Got builders, dreamers, paving the way. Multi-chain vibes, we're here to stay. Wanna know? Don't wait, let's go. Dip a toe, join the Web3 flow. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe, show, living the dream. From the legend to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Faces of crypto, stories we share. Early adopters, they're everywhere. From XRP to the Web3 wave. Bold moves, only we're here to pave. Melissa and Simon, they light the way. Every week it's a crypto play. Wanna know? Don't wait, let's go. Dip a toe, join the Web3 flow. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe, show, living the dream. From the legend to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Let's crypto dance. No advice, just a spark to ignite. Do your research, keep your vision tight. Community strong, we're building the way. Dip a toe show, here to stay. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe show, living the dream. From the legend to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Don't take a chance, don't be shy. Crypto's calling, we're reaching the sky. Join the movement, come take a look. Web3's rising, the world's been shook. Ooh.
Oh, welcome to Dip a Toe, the show that dips a toe in the waters of digital assets and dives headfirst into financial freedom, truth tellers, and the real power shift ahead. I'm your host, Melissa. My beautiful, wonderful co-host, Simon, will be off for the next couple of weeks, but I assure you he is here in spirit. So whether you're a seasoned crypto pro or just thinking about dipping a toe into this wild world of blockchain, XRP, freedom, and financial truth, you belong here. On this show, we expand our thinking, support the builders, call out the real talk, and have some fun along the way. So grab your favorite drink, and if you haven't already, please smash the like, share, and subscribe buttons. I want to give a big shout out to everybody already lighting up the chat. You guys are the heart of the show. Really appreciate it. If you're watching somewhere else tonight, like you could be watching on X or Rumble or imutv.tv or Facebook, maybe think about coming on over to YouTube and join the conversation in the chat. We have one of the most active, supportive communities around, and we'd love to have you too. And before we start, I'd love to see who's in here. Right off the bat, we've got our beautiful Silver Days, giving a shout out to our beautiful Simon. And we have Happy Dip a Toe Day by Mrs. Says Crypto. That is Simon's beautiful wife. We love you. And of course, it wouldn't be a show without Makita from Kita's Brew, always in the chat. She's one of our moderators in the chat, so be on your best behavior. We have the lovely MM in the house. Good day, yeah, let's go. William, don't wait, let's go. How you doing, William? William was on the Faces of Crypto here recently, so go back and check that episode out. Who else we've got in the house? We've got Gone Rogue. Gone Rogue says let's go, and our friend Roxy's in the house too. Good evening to everybody who's joining. If you wouldn't mind sharing this out, it'd be fantastic. I am going to be in the hot seat tonight doing all of this stuff by myself, so bear with me. But tonight, guys, we have a very special guest. We're going to cut right to the chase. Her name's Maia Dodge, and Maia is the key figure at Fruition Productions, an independent self-financed documentary film company focused on exposing truth about financial systems, corporate influence, and emerging technologies like cryptocurrency. And as a producer working alongside her beautiful, wonderful husband, Christopher Dodge, the director of all of this, Maia has been instrumental in projects that challenge mainstream narratives on money and power. Her notable works include the recent release of Rigged from the Start. It was previously known as XRP Unleashed. That uncovered the alleged corruption and regulatory issues surrounding the crypto space, particularly around assets like Ethereum and XRP. If you haven't checked that movie out, you definitely need to see that one. There is a lot of truth going on in that movie. And recently, there's a new one out, what we're going to talk about tonight, called Money Disrupted. It's also tied to the Fed themes. It's a groundbreaking documentary that dives into inflation's impact on everyday Americans, the Federal Reserve's history, and its role in the rising national debt. It also touches on how blockchain and digital assets could offer financial sovereignty and disrupt this current system. The feature film includes interviews from prominent voices such as Robert Kiyosaki, G. Edward Griffin, Lynette Zang, Andy Schectman, and others that are known in the finance and crypto education space. Maia brings behind-the-scene passions in this interview tonight and insight to these hard-hitting, independent investigations. And I am so pleased to have her here. So without further ado, I'm going to bring her in. Maia, welcome back to the Dip a Toe Show. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to this live, and thank you so much to the audience for joining. Melissa is an amazing person, so I'm ready. I
appreciate that so much. We're filling up. We got 26 so far, you guys. Please share this out, because this is an interview that folks are not going to want to miss. We got Miss Stephanie in the house, and Optimistic Prime says, "Oh my gosh, what did I miss?" She's super excited. And we have Korn and Shauna Wynn. Hello, Dip-a-Toe family. You guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming. And like I said, Simon he's working. He got like overtime, massive overtime, and it's too much. And he's working now, so he can't actually be in two places at once. So we will miss him during the next several weeks, and hopefully everything he'll be back in no time. So Maia, we always on this show, and I know you've been on it, for the folks that are new, particularly those that are watching on imutv.tv, who may have never heard of your story. I wonder if you tell us a little bit about yourself, what brought you into the world of investigative filmmaking, and also, you're a crypto person, so kind of want to start with that first. How long you've been in crypto, and did you have an aha moment that got you started looking into crypto more?
Yeah, no, thank you so much for this opportunity. And yeah, I'll start by sharing kind of just how I got into crypto. So Chris and I have been in crypto since 2017. You know, I think we were at a point in our life where something awakened within both of us, and we thought, hey, you know, we're sick of the 9 to 5. You know, there's got to be something more out there. You know, how can we speed this up of financial freedom? And you know, I actually was the one that brought Chris into crypto. I started kind of just looking into, of course, we all always start with Bitcoin. So, you know, we did the same path. We started with Bitcoin, and, you know, back then, before probably 2020, you know, for those first 3 years, it was truly the Wild West. You know, you didn't even know who to trust. There was a lot of different, while there was a lot of different kind of scammers, or it was harder to find the truth tellers and the real ones, it wasn't as saturated. So it was harder to find people or find influencers, people who had financial advice, who were in crypto. But, we just slowly made our way into the space and made the mistakes like everyone else. I think our first, everyone has that whole, I lost money, right, kind of a thing. And we definitely had that. We had that experience of losing some money in Bitcoin. And then we moved into Ethereum. We started looking into some of the other cryptos, Ethereum. We even started mining Ethereum. We started getting into the mining scenario where Chris started making some of the rigs. And we started we had about 5 rigs in our garage, actually.
You were
in
serious.
Washington.
You were serious.
Yeah. I mean, we were kind of just figuring, like the mining pools and just kind of figuring out okay, we have to make sure we have enough AC in the garage. Like it was definitely quite, I don't know, it was an interesting thing in time. I don't know. I think people are going to look back and be like, wow, that was really such an interesting part of history and time. And so then we moved on to, then we found the meme coins. And so, back in, it was, I think 2020, when we had a neighbor come to us and say, hey, you got to get onto this Dogecoin thing. Elon Musk is getting on board. And he just kind of was like, just take a chance. You got to get in. And at the time, I think we had just, sold our house, and, we were trying just different, I don't know. I can't even say what made us do such a thing, but we just thought, you know what, let's take a chance. Let's put a substantial amount of money into Dogecoin at the time. And about 8 months later, we did very well. It was a great opportunity. We thought, hey, you know what? If we win, if we do well, then great. If we don't, then it's not going to change who we are, and it's not going to change our lifestyle, right? So then we ended up getting into XRP. That's when which was a very different scenario and a different situation in regards to how I came across it. Yeah, at the time, you kind of start looking for projects, and you start looking for, hey, which one has utility, different things. And I actually was on Voyager at the time. I don't know if you knew about Voyager, right?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, you've heard. Yeah. It was another kind of platform that actually went down. But at the time, I was just kind of reading over some of these projects, and I came across XRP on Voyager, and I just read the scenario. I just read what the caption was and what the utility was, and I turned to Chris, and I just thought, this is gonna be life changing. This is gonna change the world. There was something that just spiritually just hit me so hard with Ripple and XRP, and
watch the water, baby.
Watch the water, exactly. So then we decided to put some of our money into XRP in 2020, a little bit in 2020, and then mostly in November of 21, and just kind of went from there. So that was a little bit about just kind of the history of how we got into crypto, why we got into it. We needed a change, right? Everyone kind of comes across that aha moment or that time in life where you're just like, you know what? You have to do something. You have to make a change. And it all starts with you. It all starts with that desire to make the change. It then turns into the research, and then it turns into having the guts to follow it, and doing it. So yeah, that's a little bit about it.
This is something that is so interesting, and I often say this, particularly with the XRP community.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everyone I talk to say they had a gut feeling. God showed them. God led them to it, and they followed their gut. They followed their gut instinct. They kept doing, and then it was like a light bulb goes off, and you look and what is being presented in front of you. And like you said something very important about trusting yourself, right? Yes. Trusting your instinct and going with it, believing in yourself and your ability to understand what's happening, right? Ask those important questions, do the research. And, that's part of the reason for, why I created Dip a Toe Show is if I can do it, and you can do it, and all the people that come on Faces of
Anyone
Crypto,
can
the
do it.
different, anybody can. You are smart enough. You are, good enough to grasp this information. And we're living in such a transformational time. It's just incredible. And so I wanted to ask you, so when exactly did you guys decide to start? Now you're the better half of Chris with Fruition Productions. When did you and your husband Chris decide to start this Fruition Productions up?
No, thank you for the question. So we started. It was about October of 23 when after we had had the opportunity to do well in crypto, we were just thinking, hey, we need to give back in some way. We don't really know how. I know that, at the time, I was a therapist, and Chris was in Google and was also doing film on the side, and all of that. But we just kind of started thinking, like, how are we going to do this? How can we give back? And it was October of 23 when we just said, hey, why are there no, there are films about Dogecoin. There are films out there about Bitcoin. But why has no one talked about XRP? Why, especially why has no one talked about Ripple and the lawsuit, right, that was going on that we were all experiencing? And so we said, hey, why not? What the hell? Let's give it a go, and let's just put it into action, and let's start with so how we started, we thought, hey, the best thing you can do when you start something like that is just start with what you know, right, or who you know. And so we started reaching out to, so a lot of my job within the film thing, like Chris is the one who's the visionary, the filmmaker. He sees the story, he puts it out there. I am the network. I am the people person and the connection everywhere. So through my connection on TikTok, which originally started where I began with like Brooke and Opti, and it was kind of it was way back in 2020. I'd already known some of these individuals from TikTok and some of the individuals online. It was interesting because it was actually during the pandemic, and I think Chris I got too obsessed with crypto, and I think he had just heard so much about it, and he was like, hey, like, just go talk to friends about it. And I'm like, well, I have no friends, so I need to get online. And so I created a TikTok account way back in 1920. So then I started actually starting to talk to people and finding like-minded individuals and people who are just as passionate. And then he started getting more on board. But then I connected all of the influencers and people who like Brooke, like Rico, like Coach JV, Zach Rector, Echo, some of the people that I'd known briefly or for a while for the last few years. And, thank you to them, because they really said, you know what, we trust in Fruition Productions. We believe in you and Chris, and why not? Let's do it. So we brought the majority of the first batch of influencers to LA. We did the first shoot in December of 23, and then we continued from there. So, that's kind of how it started. And then it just kind of started networking, and one door led to another. I can't even tell you. It was divinely led. I mean, I kept on telling Chris, the biggest thing if we're going to make this film is we need to make sure it's authentic and it comes from our heart. And it truly is about, hey, we want to give back, educating people on the knowledge of the financial system and what's going on, and, hoping that it will change their life just as much as it had changed ours, right? Because knowledge, if we didn't know the knowledge of even like our neighbors saying, hey, Dogecoin, Elon, then we would have never known, right? We would have never taken that risk and all of that. So, yeah, that's kind of how it started. So
there are some, the Elon Musks of the world, we do owe them a bit of gratitude just for being the early adopters of these things, because like you said, without those big name faces attached to crypto, there's a lot of folks that wouldn't even have even looked into it. Maybe
Right.
wouldn't have stumbled upon it. And so, he does play a major role in putting eyes on it. And then, of course, like you said, you mentioned the pandemic. uh,
Yeah.
Opti calls it the apocalypse and all this kind of, but it's true. There was a lot of time on our hands because we were quarantined to our homes, and all we
Right.
had was our computers and whatnot. And, information was free out there. And while a lot of folks got caught up in a lot of, politics and all these other things, some
Right.
of you guys started researching crypto early, or, you stumbled on it pretty early. And for that, you benefited from it. So that's pretty fantastic.
Right.
I'm wondering, what are the biggest challenges do you find being a completely independent, self-financed documentary team? How challenging has that been for you?
It's been very challenging. I mean, I will be honest about that. I'm not going to sugarcoat that it's easy to make a film. The biggest challenge I would say is the funding and the distribution. Because especially because of the topics that we are creating these films about, Hollywood, we honestly, we went to, for the first film, we went to a film festival where it was specifically Hollywood sales agents there that would pick up movies, right, at this film festival. And we knocked on pretty much every door that was there, probably got rejected about 40 times. In regards to what we were doing, and it was just astonishing, some of the rejections and the reasons why, whether it was, oh, but there's no Kim Kardashian in this film, and I'm like, why would a Kim Kardashian be in this financial film about crypto and XRP and different things, or oh, who's Ripple, like they're not anyone. I'm like, what? It was just astonishing that a lot of the world wasn't caught up with.
Not ready for it.
When people say we're early, we are early. We are very early in crypto, even still. So don't feel like you've missed out or missed the train. But I would say definitely the funding, getting the funding, as well as the distribution channel of, okay, how are we going to put this out into the world, whether it's through social media, whether it's through somehow getting it onto a platform like Apple, Amazon, HBO, which is super hard. And if you do happen to get it on one of those, you usually get screwed. You usually.
I was going to say they probably want a nice little chunk, right?
Yes, they usually take probably about 90% of your profits.
Man.
So it's not even worth. So and it's a very interesting time for filmmakers and for creatives, which I absolutely respect and love that you have started this show, that you're learning as you go, and that you took a risk and you said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I believe in myself enough to do it, and that you are putting this information out there and just touching people's lives every day, because we need people like you and I. We need people like, just some of these influencers that really go from, just definitely talk from the heart, want to help people, want people to have this knowledge. And so it's hard. I know we were talking about it earlier. People don't realize how much goes into creating a channel or a platform, whether it's money, energy, time. So I would say those two things, funding and then the distribution. So actually our first two films, because Hollywood did not pick it up, no one was interested, we used our crypto that we made to fund the first two films. So sometimes you just got to believe in yourself, and you just got to say, well, hopefully it'll pay off later on, but
I gotta tell you something funny. So yeah, thank you for saying about the bravery and doing it, and like people don't realize how many hundreds of thousands of hours go into doing something like this, and having the courage to put yourself out there and all of the things, right? And and so I'm still learning, and I got part of a like the YouTube creator, where they're giving you tips and whatever. And one of the things is giving something special to your subscribers, because here at Dip Toe, we're finally up to, I think, 1,170 or 1,170 subscribers now, and we have a few people that are like, like the fan passes or whatever. And so, you make the private videos. And so the other night I was looking through some videos of what I could upload as a special thank you private video to the subscriber, the private subscribers. And I came across a video of myself like trying to figure out how to use OBS Studios. And I got my headphones on. I look horrible. And I'm talking to myself and I'm doing all these things. And you can see me struggling. And all the while I'm listening to karaoke in the background, Lady K and Gotta Be Karaoke, people singing and stuff. And I just had to laugh. And so I haven't decided if I'm going to upload that video or not, but it's one of those things where, you just have to go for it, do the best that you can. And you guys, taking the risk, spending your crypto. I mean, you did well, getting into Doge, you were able to make a profit, which congratulations to you on even having the foresight to do that, because the average new person in getting into crypto, they see it go all the way up and they think it's going to continue going up, and then it goes right back down and they're like, oh, I thought I had money and now I don't. And so you made an intelligent decision and transitioning into XRP and all of that, but then you spent it. And that's an incredible risk. And then going out there and putting yourself out there to sell it to Hollywood, only to have them potentially, take your money. And you're like, well, I don't need you anyway. And the cool thing is, Maia, with the blockchain and all of the things getting built, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, or maybe we'll talk about it in the after space. There are ways for independent creators like yourself to retain that money. You don't need the Hollywood. And so the bigger our voices get, the better for folks like you guys. And so just kudos to you on that. I do want to kind of circle back to the XRP Unleashed film. And I have a little, if I can find it.
By the way, who was in that film, Melissa? Who was in
I was in that film. Yeah, I did. I had a little cameo. I did have a little. It was pretty famous. It's funny too, because it's like you can hardly, if you're in the digital asset space and all your family and friends who don't want to listen to you at all, you can hardly even get them to watch a film when you say, I'm in the film. You know what I mean? Like you can't get it. And like, oh, geez, oh, Pete's, come on, guys, but it's just the way that it is.
It is. I don't understand that. I mean, I think it's even hard to get our own parents to watch. I don't think Chris has even gotten his own mom to watch the film he's made. So, but
it's like, oh, you're killing me. Yeah, nobody watches. None of my friends and family watch, but it's fine. I mean, well, except for my sister. I will say my sister does too. But I really wanted to touch on this. The rigged from the start. It was called rigged from the start. Originally, XRP Unleashed. And that came hot out of the gate. It was a bit controversial when you guys were first doing it. I remember you got a lot of pushback from different people and all of this kind of stuff. And I thought it was a fantastic film. It was super exciting. Tell us how the film came together and why the XRP SEC story was the perfect starting point for Fruition Productions.
That's a great question. I would say because we were living it. I mean, to be honest, it was a subject that really connected and related to a lot of people in the community we were in. I mean, that was probably the craziest part about this story and about telling the story of Ripple versus the SEC and kind of everything that was going on, because we were making the film in real time. I mean, we were just getting information as we went. And, while we first it was the influencers, and then we got connected to, I think our big connection was John Dean. And then after John Dean, which, by the way, maybe a week before we interviewed him, he's like, "Oh, just so you know, I'm running for senator." And we're like, "What? Okay." And then, then we got connected to Steven Narioff, and then we just kept on getting connected to these individuals that, gave us the benefit of the doubt, that had so much knowledge, but it was in real time information. And so and you could tell that just the XRP community in particular, I mean, it is about crypto. It is about XRP, the lawsuit and such with Ripple and the SEC, but the XRP community, I think, had just felt so just taken advantage of, and just there was no justice with what was happening to them in real time. And so, thank you to the community for believing in us and for, just helping us get there, because just your energy and your, just your kind words and the lives, right? Your belief, and you guys had us come on and talk about the film, and then just purchasing it meant so much to us. But hopefully it justified everything. Hopefully it made the XRP community in particular feel like, what, my voice was heard. So that's kind of how it went. And just things kept unfolding. And I truly give that to, I just kept saying to Chris, we need to be authentic and real about this, who we put in the film, also how we go about this, because it means something to this community. It means something to us. And I truly believe that the universe gives back. If you are truly genuine and real, it will give back to you. And it did. So.
Amen. Yeah, it was very awesome to go to XRP Las Vegas that year. You guys had a booth, and you were allowing just anybody to come up and talk about why they loved XRP or their thoughts or whatever it was. And some of us lucky ones got chosen to be in the film. I was one. I thought it was pretty awesome. Yeah. It was great fun. It was great fun. And, I know so many people really enjoyed it, and they'll continue to enjoy it. And one of the things you mentioned that makes it, I don't know if people really understand how awesome and important it is to create a film in real time, because we are so manipulated over our history. Those of us that have been studying, and like, we're coming to a realization that a lot of things we've been lied to about, right? People are able to manipulate. Right. Even when you follow something in real time, unless you document it, you could go 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Other people will start bringing up things that had to do with it. And you're like, no, that's not the way I remember it going down, right? And then they can shift the narrative and change it about. You guys did this in real time. You did your interviews in real time. The lawsuit was going on in real time. And so anybody watching, I still call it XRP Unleashed, but anybody that's watching right from the start can know that this was happening in real time when you guys did that. And that is powerful.
Yeah, even after it was out, I think even like a month after it was released, Chris did add in, I think there were several, I don't know which act it was, but something was passed in Congress, and added that little section in just to really solidify the lawsuit and what was going on. And yeah, in real time, which made it kind of crazy, because it just, I don't think Chris we didn't really know where the direction of the film was going, or how we wanted it, how we wanted to present it to everyone, until really about September, October of 2024, and it came out in November. I mean, it for most of the year, we're just, okay, let's just follow our heart, and let's just, these doors are opening with these individuals. Let's get these interviews. And then we just kind of trusted that the story would come together, and it did. So.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your successes and the feedback that you got. I know you guys had theater screenings. I was not able to go to any of those, but I'm just curious, like, how you went about that, what the audience reactions were, and the impact that you saw on the broader crypto conversation just in general after XRP Unleashed or Right from the Start came out.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I felt like we got a good amount of reactions. Just, a lot of people coming forward and saying, thank you so much for your film, because it just made all of those years of holding on to XRP and having this happen to our community feel, it just created some kind of closure for them, or some kind of like, you know what? I'm not crazy. Everything that was going on is happening. It was rigged from the start, or XRP Unleashed. It was rigged, right? And all of this stuff, to where just because knowledge is power. Once you have the knowledge, then it really does change your perception and your perspective on the rest of your life, and on how you move forward. And just people even understanding, oh my gosh, just the connection of how Jay Clayton and Sullivan and Cromwell, and then you had just how they manipulated and laundered this money, and then just how they went after Ripple, really helped the community feel like, okay, like we weren't crazy. This was real. It was something that was happening, and it just helped them feel better about their investment. About it just gave them closure. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of just one of those things like the we knew there was corruption going on, right? We
Right.
knew it, and then to see it all unfold, with all of the interviews and all of the information that you got access to, it really did paint the picture. And I mean, now there's even more revelations coming out about all kinds of things,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I mean, you're gonna have no trouble finding material to do documentaries on, because you couldn't have started Fruition Productions at any better time in history, right? I mean, it's just incredible. And the connections that you are making right now, one leads to another, leads to another, leads to another,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
so super cool. I wondered what surprised you the most during filming, and what kind of feedback have you received that meant the most to you?
Um, Let me think. What surprised? Probably Stephen Narioff's part of the film,
Mm.
because he was really the whistleblower. He was really what the missing piece. He really brought in that whole part of the corruption of the Ethereum Foundation, and how they were using it. And I would say definitely that one. When we were able to interview him and get connected with him, and he also, even himself, he appreciated that it gave him some kind of redemption, right? That, like, hey, you know what? I have a chance to tell my truth and my part of the story. And so I would say Stephen Arioff's interview was pretty surprising, and was very helpful in telling the rest of the story. So, yeah.
Yeah. And what one feedback or some feedback, what has meant the most to you about this whole journey, from all the people that have watched XRP Unleashed, I still call it that, right from the start, that came out, what meant the most to you, feedback wise?
I would say what meant the most is just, I don't know, just the keep going with the feedback that said, thank you for getting this information out. Please keep going. Don't give up, because I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize this was coming on.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Wow, I wasn't expecting this. Sorry.
See, it means a lot, guys, when somebody puts themselves out there all the time, hard
It
work and
does.
energy
Words
to
are very
give
powerful.
positive feedback is so important.
Yes, because just even the keep going, I can't even imagine how hard it's been, not just financially, because that's one thing, but really it's the energy, it's the amount of work, it's the days where sometimes Chris and I would just be completely besides ourselves, and just like, should we even do this? How do we continue? Because it was just sometimes so hard, whether it was just some of the, because especially the first 5 months or so, it was the negativity. There was a lot of, and we had to step away for a while, just say, you know what, I'm going to just continue on. I believe in what we're doing, even if the community doesn't understand it at this point. I know there were a lot of good people that we appreciate you guys so much, but the ones that were very difficult and did make it hard, and
There were
did
some.
try and destroy it. I mean, try to destroy a good thing. And I just, sometimes it was just like, why? We're just trying to do a good thing, and we're just trying to get this information out. And just thought that that feedback of just keep going. You can do it. Just keep going, because we need you, even if you don't feel like it, or even if you feel like some days it just feels like you're alone. It really does feel like you're the only people fighting against the world. And then you have to remind yourself, you have a community, you have people that love you and believe in you. Sometimes it just takes one person to believe in you. It really
Man,
does. And so
I feel you.
that, yeah, sorry, I
No,
probably
I
got very
love it.
emotional.
I love it. And I have to
Yeah.
tell you, I don't know if you can see the chat, but you are getting all kinds of love in the chat. People are just beside themselves with how much they love you, how awesome you are. And, everybody's like, just keep going. And that resonates with me too. Like, even with the Dip a Toe show, sometimes you think to yourself, like, what am I even doing this for? Like, does anyone care? All of the
Right.
things. And it's mostly because you get tired. You're tired,
Yeah.
and people don't see you struggling. They see you on your game when you're in
Right.
public and all of these things. Yeah, Stone says Opti believes in you. Yeah, like Opti says, I love you so, so much. Yeah. And yeah, well, we believe it. Everybody in this chat believes in you. Never quit. Like, there's just the chat in and of itself is awesome on this show, with the amount of support that people give. And yeah, so kudos to you guys for continuing to push on. It was a fantastic film, and people can still watch that film, right? They
Yes.
just have to go to fruitionsproductions.com,
Yeah.
and they can buy that, and they can buy it and watch it.
I just want to say one more thing. Just, if you feel inclined to do something, please do it. Even if you feel like you don't have the support, if you believe in it, and if you have that one person, which, at first it was just Chris and I, right? We came up with an idea to make a movie. He had the movie skills. I had some of the connection and the people. But really, we're also learning. It's, we're just regular people as well, So I
Just
just want to
people.
tell people, please just do it. Believe in yourself. I want people to believe in themselves, because you can change the world. You really can. And the way you talk to yourself as well. Words are powerful. The self-talk. I mean, I'm a therapist, so I very much, I tell people, the way you think becomes your reality. So just start today and believe in whatever that is to get you through, and it will it makes a difference, even if it's just one person that you touched, or that you made a difference to. It still means something. So anyways,
I love it. That is one of the things that I love about this community the most, because there are so many people, particularly in the XRP community, but also in the digital asset space in general, who really understand the power we have, the power of words, the power of thought, collectively, where we can take the world. We are building the world we want to live in. Right? We
right.
are so powerful, and it's projects like yours, the efforts that use it does not go unnoticed, and it is so we're so thankful for the time and energy that you have spent, because it's pretty remarkable, Maia. It's pretty
Thank you.
remarkable. I
Thank
would
you.
love to share. Like, I'm sure people are like, what is this money's disrupted stuff? I'm looking if I can find the official I'm not going to screw this up this time, Maya, I promise.
No,
I think
that's
I'm going to do it full screen so people can get the full
Oh, that's
experience.
great. Okay.
If I can find it, how to do the full experience. I think. Can I do it that way? No. No. That's
You
the
had
only
it.
way.
You had it up.
I did have it up, but I'm trying to find the full one where I can put it pull it like what just the cinema like itself,
Okay.
because for them to be able to see it real big and pretty, I think will be awesome. So
Okay.
let me see if I can do that real quick and do it this way and add it. There we go. All right, guys.
Way to go.
I'm hoping that we can hear it. So right here, let's go.
When you print
Whoa,
money,
I
the
can't hear
middle
the
class
sound.
gets poorer because what goes up is inflation on food, milk,
Melissa?
chicken, eggs, and things like
Can't
that.
hear it?
And we're facing
I
one
don't
of the
think so. Can
biggest
the chat?
economic transitions in world history.
Wealth and income inequality are the biggest moral crisis.
This recession is different. Something's not.
Let me go back. Let me see. Could you guys hear it? Oh, they said they could hear it.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh,
All
go
right,
ahead.
fantastic, guys. Okay. Let me go back to what I was doing.
My
Let's
apologies.
see here. No worries. Let's go back here. Get you back there. And I will start it again.
Oh, there you go.
When you print money, the middle class gets poorer because what goes up is inflation on food, milk, chicken, eggs, and things like this. And we're facing one of the biggest economic transitions in world history.
Wealth and income inequality are the biggest moral crisis.
This recession is different. Something's not coming back. Everybody says, she'll be right, it'll come back.
We're going to create a government agency that will be in a position to rapidly print money to bail out any bank that gets in trouble. And that's really what the Federal Reserve is.
Well, first of all, it isn't what most people think it is. I thought it was an agent of the federal government. It's not. What is it? It's a cartel.
The Federal Reserve or any central bank is simply the center of fiat money. And their key job is to regulate the rate and speed of inflation.
You cannot build economic growth, you cannot build prosperity, you can't build full employment on a currency that is inflating.
So think about how this works. The bank is making a profit on the war, and the government is finding a buyer for their bonds, but the buyer for the bonds is getting the money to buy the bonds from the government.
But I think there's going to be chaos. I think of it more like what happened to the British pound. After World War I, they lost their steam and they spent too much. They ruined their currency. That could happen to the dollar. And I don't think we can correct anything until the liquidation comes. And Volcker was in favor of that. And that's probably gave us more time with the dollar.
Once they disallowed you from using gold as money, even though it was still used in the system, you lost your power.
That was awesome. Guys, like, hello. That is fantastic. I have to tell you, Maya, I did watch the film today, and I was blown away. I was blown away. The ending is fantastic.
I'm so glad you loved
the
it.
ending had me. There was a part in the movie where I cried. I didn't expect to cry, because like the first part of the film is kind of going through the history and telling you all the things, and then the second part of the film is like really steps it up a notch. And, we're talking about like current stuff. And there were some scenes in the movie that I was like, oh, this is hitting my feels right here. It really, and I started crying. I was at work and I was like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to come in here and ask me like, why am I crying? Why am I crying? But yeah, I thought it was so good. It was such a great film. Can you tell us how the film came about? Obviously in the overall film theme is the end the Fed, right? And the inflation and hidden history of money and all of that. But how did this come about for you to create this? for you guys to create this?
Well, another thing that's happening in real time is the problem of inflation, right? And so we just thought, hey, I think, well, actually, what ended up, how we decided to do Money Disrupted was that we had so much information from the first film, from XRP Unleashed or Rigged from the Start, and we had so many like good interviews. And while you can't, while these interviews were amazing and most of them were like 45 minutes to a couple hours long, you can't put everything they say out there. So Chris had a lot of material still, and thought, hey, why not make another film that kind of piggybacks off of this crypto SEC lawsuit thing, and talk about the Federal Reserve, because a lot of the individuals in the last film talked about more than just the lawsuit. It was just about inflation. It was about, just how we got here, the system, the corrupt system, and we just thought, let's make something about the Federal Reserve. How about we go down the route of calling out the Rothschilds and JP Morgan, and let's do it. I think that's something that also our audience would appreciate, and that the world needs to know, is about the history of the banking system, how we got to this point of, printing just trillions of dollars, $38 trillion in debt, and inflation, and how it's not getting any better. I mean, and when you do watch the film, you start to understand, oh my goodness, from the very start of the creation of the Federal Reserve, it was always created as a scam. It was always created to benefit the banks and to make sure that they had a vehicle to be able to, to create these wars and to print as much money as they wanted without any consequence. While you and I, on the backs of paying off, like that was the craziest thing. And I know Molly has like the best line where she's like, well, who are we paying this interest to? Like, who are we, where does this debt, where are we owing this debt? And it's really just to the principal and the interest of the Federal Reserve. I mean, we're not even paying the actual debt off. It's just the interest of it. And you and I, it's been a slave system for so long. It enslaves the everyday average person, and people don't realize that it's really through inflation that's enslaving them.
Absolutely. And that is again one of the key factors of people that dive into digital assets and crypto and that sort of thing. They start asking all those pesky questions, don't they? Like, where's our money? What is our money? Right. Yeah. Like Lloyd says, their system isn't designed to be paid off. And when you start going back in time, and you have some real heavy hitters in there, and we're going to talk about them in a minute. But when you start asking the questions, what is money? How does our current system work? Most people don't even realize that the Federal Reserve isn't really part of the government. Like, they think it is because it's called the Federal Reserve, and they assumed that it was, and it really isn't. So like it's kind of a cartel. Like, it's kind of like, they're controlling the entire world through this Federal Reserve system. And it's crazy when you really start learning about it. You're like, wow, have we been duped? But you only learn that through pausing your life for a moment, maybe a couple good weeks, where you start looking in and listening to these people that know what they're talking about and that can explain it to you. And a film like this is a very good lesson in how this all came about, right?
Right.
And so that's something that I think is incredibly powerful, particularly for the younger generation, who they are asking questions. Like a lot of us, a lot of people are like, these kids nowadays, and they're expecting this and expecting that. And I'm like, Well, really, if you think about it, we should have been thinking that way too,
The
right?
same thing. Yeah.
We've just been molded into the way that we think because we were taught that from the time that we were little. They didn't
Right.
teach us about money intentionally, and they just taught us what the system was. And this is what you need to do to be a good citizen and have good credit and be able to participate in their
system.
yeah, in their little
Yep.
system. But you were able to get legacy voices on these topics, folks like Robert Kiyosaki, G. Edward Griffin, and Ron Paul. I wanted to touch on what it meant to you guys, you and Chris both, getting access to these men that have such deep knowledge on the history of our money and being able to explain it so well. That must just have been incredible for you guys.
It was amazing. And we're very thankful that they allowed us to come and interview them, to pick their brains for a couple of hours. I think our first one was G. Edward Griffin that we ended up getting through shout out. I would like to say shout out to Rob Cunningham because he was the one that ended up helping us get that connection. And it was he was absolutely amazing. I mean, that man, it's like a different it's like something different frozen in time. I mean, he's from I think he was born in the 1930s, and the way he speaks and how eloquent and scholarly he is, just his whole aura is from a different time. But he is very knowledgeable, even at 94 years old. 94. And
he looks amazing too.
Absolutely amazing. And he could still, tell you all of the stuff about how he got into, why. It all began with him asking questions, right? The same questions we've been asking ourselves. And so then he kind of told us a little bit of how he got into researching this stuff and becoming, writing the book he wrote, The Creature from Jekyll Island. So if anyone wants to really see, what was interesting was Chris. Chris, he ended up getting that book before he interviewed Mr. Griffin. And he said, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing, brilliant book ever. However, it is the most dense book on the face of the planet. It is a hard read. Yeah. It has a lot of stuff. And so he said, okay, how am I going to simplify things to the average person in this film and say everything that Mr. Griffin knows in that book, The Creature from Jekyll Island? But he was absolutely brilliant and amazing. And it was a pleasure meeting him in his home. And then the next individual we got after that was Ron Paul and Robert Kiyosaki, which they are also legends. Actually, Ron Paul was the very last person that we got. To be honest, we got Ron Paul, I think, in like October. So like maybe 2 months before the film was released. And so that was absolutely amazing because we know that he's like the godfather of the Federal Reserve, right? And the Fed. And Amen. That was the coolest experience for Chris. I was not able to go to Texas for that one, but he said it was absolutely amazing. Like these three men, Robert Kiyosaki, Ron Paul, and G. Edward Griffin, are just, moments in history and time. Their knowledge and their influence and what they know is absolutely amazing. So we just feel grateful that we were able to put it in a film and to capsulize it, right, in history. So.
Well, yeah. Exactly. And I'm sure like the interviews and stuff, like it's way beyond what goes into the film. And, hopefully maybe, in the future, you can have some kind of exclusive type of deal because, voices like theirs, I always say the older generation, these folks have been around, and particularly those that were born in the 1930s, 1940s.
Yeah.
They were cut from a different cloth
Yes,
than people in the 50s and 60s, right? And like we always say, like, it only takes a generation to kind of completely transform the world.
right,
Or
right.
even if of a decade or so, right? It's like it doesn't take very long, and these guys have been around to see it go down in real time. And so to be able to document their perspective while they're still here to share it is incredibly important. And I wonder why you think it matters that these giants they're passing their torch on to the younger audiences, because they are like people that are going to watch this film. They're not from their era. They're younger people.
Right,
What do
right.
you think about that as being powerful?
Well, I would say, I mean, knowledge, right? Information is probably the most powerful currency you can have, you can obtain. Um, and one, let's not repeat history, right? It's always let's not repeat history. But two, to have the knowledge is to, once you obtain knowledge of something, it completely can change the course of your life, of how you think about things, of how make decisions for future things, right? And so to the younger generation, I think it's very important that they learn about this banking system that was set up to really enslave humanity, and how these wars are nothing's coincidence, right? How they were
No.
very much manufactured to keep the machine going, and how once you learn this, then it gives you the option to get out of it, to say, no, I'm not going to perpetuate it. I'm not going to be a part of it. I am going to make different decisions, and I am going to become financially and emotionally, mentally free and self-sovereign. So whether that is in blockchain, right? Whether that's in blockchain and figuring out a way to create enough money with crypto and blockchain, or whether that is, hey, let's build a farm, let's do the barter system. I know Lynette Zang talks a lot about that, and I love it. I love that perspective, and I that is one way. They don't want you to get off the grid. They don't want you to not be tapped into their system. So it gives you that opportunity to, I guess, to decide if you want to or not. And that's big. That's a big deal. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I wonder, was there any interviewee's message that hit you the hardest personally, or that touched you the most out of the film?
I would say I really enjoyed Lynette Zang. She was great. And I mean, I was not, this time I was not present for as many of them, but I was present for G. Edward Griffin's. That was the very first big
I would have loved
big
that.
interview, and he was great. Him and his wife. I mean, it was so crazy because we went to their house, and literally their house is very modest people, very genuine, and I mean, their whole house was almost like it was frozen in time. It was a capsule of. It felt like I was back in the 1960s. Okay, so it just was so weird. I mean, you saw like just the amount of intelligence and brilliance of this man, and just the humility. I really, from G. Edward Griffin, I got the humbleness. Even with, I mean, not to say that not with Robert Kiyosaki or Robert, I wasn't there for their present interview, but I really felt it with Mr. Griffin and his wife, and he from way back when said, you know what, I just felt it was important for the future generations to know this. And so good for him as well to get it out there during a time where no one was really talking about it at all, even back then. Or so, because he had similar route where for the Creature of Jekyll Island, he told us he got rejected many times from bigger bookstores when he was trying to sell his book. And he said, you know what? I just started, honestly, you know how he got it started?
Oh,
He got started by literally just giving the book out to friends, and then it was based on referrals. It was the friends reading it and saying, "Oh my gosh, this information is amazing." I gave it to another friend. I gave it to another friend. I'm like, what? Like that's so crazy because it was a time where there was no internet, really, right? So I'm like, literally, it was just based on the voices of, and it started small and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And then you know what he said later, which I was like, yes, that probably felt so good. He said later on, like maybe like 10 years later or so, it was then the big bookstores coming to him at
yeah.
that point saying, we want to make a deal with you and your books at that point. When he, 10 years earlier, where it was like begging them to take the books, right? And they're like, people don't need to know this book. What is this book? So yeah.
What's really cool is, so again, these men were documenting this stuff in real time, in
Yep.
their real time, right? And
Yep.
the world wasn't ready to hear it yet.
No.
The world is so ready to hear it now. I mean, well, I should say, they don't know they're ready, but they are. There's a
Right.
lot of people, a lot of truths are coming out. And this is one of the biggest truths. This is the most important truth
Right.
when it comes to your entire life. Things that touch everything has to do with the money and the financial system. And so if you can
Right.
watch Money Disrupted, read Creature from Jekyll Island, I can't remember the Kawasaki's book. Get Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's amazing. That is the book that everyone should really start with, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yep.
Because
talks about liability and assets.
Yep. He talks about things at a level that people can understand.
Yes.
And that is what's so important here with Money Disrupted, is that you've pulled those men in and women into the film to share their historic knowledge that they have, that they learned in real time. They're still here to share it. Now this movie is going to go out and be shared with future generations, documented forever. It's going to be on the blockchain. We're going to make sure of that. It's never going anywhere. I think it's fantastic. I do want to play a couple clips, but I do want to know, what is one thing that you hope a 25-year-old watching this movie in 2026 walks away with understanding?
That in 2026, but it's not too late. It's not too late to be, if anything, it is the best time in history to gain the knowledge of how to become financially independent. It's probably the easiest time where the information's out there to take a moment. I know you're young. I know you're doing a lot of different things in your 20s, but please, and I think that is something, hopefully I do see in Gen Z a lot, is that they are more aware of things than the other generations. And I do see them caring about things that, about financial stuff, about independence, and taking that time. So I would say to take the time. You can still, knowledge is power, and there are still ways to get out of this enslavement system. One is just, first of all, learning about the history of it, understanding it, how it works, what they want. When you understand how it works and when you understand where it's going and what they want to do, then you can better make decisions on, okay, I don't want to go that route. I'm going to start a farm and do this, or I'm going to, through my XRP, I'm going to become a bank and start borrowing loans against it. Like, you need to learn this stuff, right? You need to understand how to become self-sovereign, and it's out there. Just take the time. I guess the biggest thing is, even if it's just 10, 15 minutes a day, it really does matter. It does matter to take that time to learn, because that's your future. That is you have one life to live. So, and how amazing if you get it started early on in your 20s, you have time on your side. A lot of people from millennials, Gen X, boomers, I think a lot of this information honestly, Melissa, I think a lot of this information is, you're starting to see that people very much, they're waking up in their later years and they're very much feeling rug pulled, and they're very much feeling like, oh my gosh, I wasted so much of my life in this system that has taken so much from me. I wish I knew this sooner, right?
Yeah.
So
Never too late to start. Never too late to start, guys. We are in the most fantastic time. Actually, for people starting to come in now, you have the benefit of all of us. You know, you have Fruition Productions, you have Dip a Toe Show, you have Coffee and Crypto with Stone, you have all of these crypto 68J, you name it. There are so many people out there that have been in this digital asset space for years and years. You don't necessarily have to navigate the roughest waters that we've had to navigate, because we have a community and a network of people. And you're exactly right. Somebody in their 20s early on, or even your early 30s, man, you got a long time before you're going to retire. This stuff can grow and grow and grow. You don't need to invest a lot, and it's a chain reaction that's going to happen for you. And so hats off to anybody that is starting to dip their toe in it. I do want to share, you had a couple of clips, and I'm hoping I'm not going to mess this up, but we're going to try, guys. We're going to try. I'm going to try to share my screen again. There's a couple of clips that she wanted me to share. So let me do this in the right order. This one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if I can, that's probably big enough if I try to do it. Well, so let's see. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
So I resigned from Standard Oil, $120K a year, to make $200 a month as a Marine lieutenant, and I flew a helicopter gunship in Vietnam. It was one of the best decisions I ever made in my whole life. The first thing we had to do every single day as a gunship pilot, we had to practice crashing 3 times a day. Kill your engine, go down. Kill your engine, go down. This was the difference. When you kill your engine, most pilots pull back. Those were the pilots that died. And what we taught us in the Marine Corps was, when you kill your engine, push aircraft forward. I came back from Vietnam. Our aircraft landed at Norton Air Force Base, north of San Francisco. And the pilot says, gentlemen, as soon as you get into this terminal, get out of your military outfits now. There's no welcome home for you. First, I got hit by rotten eggs. And these love children, the little hippies, spitting on me. I said, what happened to America?
What's happening to America? Oh my gosh, right? What do you think about that one, Maya? Because the when you're going down, you don't want to
lean.
Yeah,
you want to lean in. You actually want to
into the dip.
Yes, which I equate that to buying the dip, right? So when it looks like it's crashing, you put even more faith into it, and you just go all in, and you just, not all in, but I'm just saying, like, you take, don't go, those are wrong choices.
Don't get crazy on us.
Don't get crazy.
Right.
Don't get crazy. But I loved that analogy and that story from Robert, because it really, and it was interesting. He said the ones that pulled back and got scared were the ones that actually died.
Yep.
Those were the pilots that actually didn't make it. And so just like Chris and I back in 2020 with Dogecoin, we said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's take sometimes it's about seizing that opportunity. It's about believing in it and saying, you know what, let's just do it. I love that he says you actually have to put the nose of the plane forward. You have to actually push forward and trust it. So buying the dip is the best way to say it. So if it looks like it's bad, it's crashing, it's okay. Buy the dip. Just keep dollar cost averaging. it will go up. It has to. Eventually, everything goes up.
What goes up must go down. What goes down must go up. I mean,
Yes.
right? And we've been so programmed. Green is go, red is stop, and
Right.
you know, all of the visuals and everything. If you look at the fear and greed
Which is
factor,
probably on purpose. Don't you think
it's
that's on purpose?
totally on purpose, right? And then
Yeah.
you'll notice when things are, you know, they don't talk much about these digital assets and stuff, or whether it's stocks or any. They don't talk too much about them when they're doing well and they're at affordable prices, right? But as
Right.
soon as it starts dropping, then they're like, oh, they're going out of business and this is happening. And then people that are holding it, especially us people that are kind of poor, we don't have a lot of money. We see
Right.
our $100 or $500 that we've invested in it, and we're like, holy smokes, it's only worth $400 now. I better sell it before I lose all of my $500. And then you turn around and sell it. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, somebody else is buying it up because they know it's going to go up and they're going to be saved. And then you're like, well, shoot, I should have just held on. I should have bought myself a little bit of bag, you know? So yeah, it's pretty wild. There's some other clips that you have on your Instagram.
I'll play them,
And let's see if I can share a couple of these ones, because these are kind of fun here. Get back here, do that. And I got to remember to add it to the stage. I think this is the right one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's play this guy here, if I can.
Good old Ron Paul.
Good old Ron Paul.
They were doing the Monetary Control Act, and they were expanding the role of the Fed to be able to monetize just about anything or everything. And I thought, boy, this is really going to get big. Somebody came into my office once, and they were complaining about inflation. And that was probably in the 70s. And they were having a hard time, and they did. I mean, inflation, interest rates at 21% and all this. And I said, what do you think we should do? She says, well, we need more money. Give us money so we can pay our bills. You know, that's where they still are in our depression. You know, there was so much debt, and there had to be retraction. And a lot of people said the biggest mistake in the depression, I heard Bernanke say this, that they just didn't print money fast enough. So somebody will moan about the failure in Vietnam. They just didn't drop enough bombs. Dropped more than they dropped in World War II.
Man, dropped more than they did in World War II. So,
yeah, can you believe that? Chris was like, what? When he said that, he was like, what? Wow.
This kind of puts it in perspective. So those of you who don't know Ron Paul, you know, he's been against all this frivolous spending and money printing and all of this stuff. He's been one of the loudest, or if not the loudest voice in Congress. Yep. And it's interesting, like the playbook plays on, right? It's over and over and over again. And when you see a movie like Money Disrupted, and you hear people like Ron Paul talking about these things, and then you listen to what's happening nowadays and what people are pissed off about, you know, they're pissed off because we won't print more money. We won't, you know, you're like, you voted against this, you know, bill, and, you know, all of this stuff. And it's like, listen, yo, the money's fake. Okay. Where is this money coming from to do all these things? Like, you're making it even worse. So I just wondered what your perspective on that was.
Well, I mean, he has been an advocate for really representing the people's concerns. I mean, since the 1970s. I mean, he's run a few times, and honestly, he didn't win because he was too honest. He was too real, and I think he was too for the people and helping the average person. So, I mean, that's kind of my perspective and my opinion of why he was not able to ever become president and get certain positions in Congress. But he's been shouting this for a very long time. And my favorite part of the film is the ending part. And so you'll see it ends with "End the Fed" and Ron Paul.
I love it.
And it is very, it's very powerful. And I think people need to realize that this has been an issue for a very long time, and this was the way it was always designed. This was the way that the banks, the Rothschilds, that they've always wanted to enslave us in the system that just is a never-ending machine that keeps feeding itself. And Ron Paul was a great ad, and he just had such great knowledge. Um, and I also liked, I didn't meet Ron Paul, but Chris said, he was also just a very humble guy, also in his 90s. Him and his wife just live in a nice, quaint little house in Texas. And they just, you could really feel that he had always wanted to really, truly help people. That's what Chris said. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to me. Why wouldn't you? Like, he was way ahead of his time, just like Mr. Griffin, just like Robert Kiyosaki. Why wouldn't you want to vote for someone who truly was a family guy, an honest individual who represented probably in the best way? Look at the politicians nowadays. They don't represent truly what people want and what is going on in the average everyday life. But Ron Paul was a great get, and we really appreciate him. And so, yeah.
Well, the power of social media and low cost option and sharing of information, it's really taken a lot of power away from those big conglomerates, the big, all of the media. And for so long, they've been able to control the narrative.
The information.
And nowadays, you don't need a ton of money to get yourself out on social media. And all you need is a bunch of people who believe in your message to share that out. And so I truly believe in the future, we will have folks that are like Ron Paul, the real deal, the legit, right? Too legit to quit type of people running and winning for these offices. And we're seeing them fight to the death right now, trying to maintain that control. And they're making themselves look really foolish, in my opinion. The ones that are fighting for the power still, it's like you're grasping at straws now,
I know, like the cat's out of the bag. And I mean, actually, just a month ago, we're still in communication with Ron Paul, but we congratulated him. We reached out to him on email and said, hey, congrats on, how does it feel to finally feel like people, to get your voice out? Because I don't know if you saw, but Tucker Carlson interviewed him. Now big media people are coming around and saying, wow, Ron Paul was right all along, and we should have listened. And I can't even imagine how it feels for him, because for how many years was he ignored? Was his voice not heard? And sound, he always talked about sound money and this Federal Reserve System being corrupt, and no one heard him in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And so now people are coming around, and he just had an amazing interview with, if you guys want to go check it out, with Tucker Carlson about the Federal Reserve, about his whole thing. So, yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Lloyd for becoming a new YouTube member. Lloyd, there was a super secret squirrel video, but now I think it went public. But thank you so much for becoming a member. I am working on some kind of perks to make it a little bit funner for you guys. And Mr. Zang, thank you for the $10 shout out. We really appreciate you guys so much. I have a couple more clips, and not sure which ones we want to play, but
any of them you choose.
This one looked interesting.
We will have a $2.5 to $3 trillion deficit again this year. We have a $37 trillion debt, but that excludes Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and government military pensions, which amount to somewhere in the neighborhood of $175 trillion. Indebted, off balance sheet. So we're over $200 trillion in the hole. The average price of a home in 1960 in dollars was $17,000. Gold was $35 an ounce. It would have taken 485 ounces to buy a house. Now those 485 ounces of gold are worth almost $2 million.
Huh?
Wow.
Yeah, and then there's where was this
So
one?
Robert's is a good, or the Josh is a good one too. Linda,
Let's see.
you choose.
Decentralization is a masquerade in my perspective. You can't have decentralization in a capitalistic global society. It's impossible. And so it's a false ideology that I think is pushed to pursue something that is, of course, great. Bitcoin, freedom of the government, freedom of speech, freedom of control, freedom of monetary value. And so this puts you in a weird position when you have one side of the industry, which is known as Bitcoin maximalists, claiming that Bitcoin's the only answer. When on the other side of the industry, you have a government that's now adopting Bitcoin as this global standard and telling everybody that, yeah, this is what a store of value might look like. And now all people are looking at this no longer as a way to protect their wealth. They're just looking at it as an investment vehicle. And this, in my opinion, has really hurt the industry if we're not careful. We are at a point where the altcoin market is at its highest value ever. Yet retail and Americans feels like we haven't even seen a bull run. They feel like they're losing money. And this is because the government just continuously prints all of this money in this inflationary economy.
Yep.
Crazy. And one more. I'm gonna get P.
How did
Jones.
this dramatic income inequality happen on such a wide scale?
Back in 2008, we had a massive real estate bubble. We had home prices going up like crazy. We had what were called liar loans, where people could get a loan without having to really prove any income. There was a lot of fraud in the mortgage system. And eventually interest rates went up and popped the bubble. It basically impacted the entire banking system. Congress got together and said the banks are failing, there's no liquidity in the system, and unless we pass an emergency funding, we're going to basically lose the whole system. And so it was voted in an $800 billion package called TARP that was supposed to bail out all the banks. Not only bailed out the banks, it bailed out a lot of people who weren't even related to the banking system. So we found out that there's been massive fraud in that whole time that all this money was approved. But the banks were rescued, even though the banks were the ones that actually caused the problem.
Yep. Way to go, Linda.
Way to go, Linda. I love Linda. We've had Linda on this show before. Yeah. Loved it. Oh, we got another new member, Hillary. What's up? Thank you so much for joining. That's fantastic. I love it. Gosh, this time is going by so fast. I want to get to, I definitely, guys, go to fruitionproductions.com so that you can purchase the movie and watch it at your leisure. But while Money Disrupted is out now, it was released on the 19th, it's making waves. You guys are already deep into your next project. You want to talk a little bit about your involvement with Empower Oversight, Empower Us?
Yes. So after the first project, XRP Unleashed, which, by the way, Empower is in, Tristan and Jason, they are, is shielded by power. So we, on the 20th at 5 p.m. PST time and 8 p.m. Eastern, if you go to our Fruition Productions YouTube channel or Empower's social accounts, you can watch this live stream with some major people in this new project, and it is on the Hunter Biden laptop story. So Empower, the whole thing with Empower, they're a nonprofit organization that protects whistleblowers. And so Gary and Joe, if you see Joe Ziegler and Gary right there, Shapley, they are the two whistleblowers that came forward and that with all of the evidence of against the Hunter Biden laptop and of the Biden crime family, just all of the financial fraud that they accumulated and they did within 10 years. I mean, they talk about Burisma, about Ukraine. I mean, Hunter Biden was Joe Biden and Hunter, they were placing themselves in all kinds of business situations, whether it was for Burisma with Ukraine or China. They sold us out to China, Russia. all of this stuff. So Shielded by Power, Whistleblowers versus the Big Guy. They also have a book out, by the way, that they launched in November. So if you guys want to read the book, you can read the book. It's Truth versus Social, or on Empower Oversight's website. But it's called Whistleblowers versus the Big Guy. So we are basing the film pretty much on the information of the book and some, because we were able to also get the guy from the computer. If you want to put that up, I can. The JP Mac Isaac, if you guys see, he is the computer shop owner that Hunter Biden came in and dropped his laptop at his computer shop and left it there. And his interview is very interesting. I mean, this poor guy, in the sense of just when he first meets Hunter Biden, to just his whole process of dealing with the Bidens, with the FBI, all of this stuff, because it just shows just how corrupt this government system is. Because if you're just a regular average Joe, you get screwed. I mean, Hunter Biden, as well as the FBI, sued him several times, claiming, like, his story is so sad because he was just trying to do the right thing. He turned in the laptop after a few months of it being at his shop. And, the FBI came after him saying, you're trying to make the Bidens look bad and blah, 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 and sued him and won. I think he owed like $170,000 to them, as well as Hunter Biden also said defamation, blah, 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 that he was in it for money and for, whatever the name, right, trying to put a bad name to the Biden family and all this stuff. So, JP Mac Isaac, he's a real hero in my sense, because he's the real, yes, Joe and Gary, the IRS whistleblowers, they worked on this for several years, and their jobs, their careers also took a hit. But, JP Mac Isaac is really just, how unfortunate to have Hunter Biden show up at your computer store. And then for like the last 4 years, he lost his business. He lost probably about $250,000 worth of money through lawsuits and all this stuff. And he's also been threatened a few times, right? Death threats by the Bidens, by FBI. And so, but then we have some amazing other people, like Devin Archer was a business partner of Hunter Biden. It was interesting because he took the fall for a lot of what Hunter did. Hunter actually got pardoned by his father. It just shows the corruption. That's why it's called Shielded by Power, because it's like, hey, if you have power in this world from your name,
you can get away with anything, right?
You can get away with anything. And so, and then we have the suppression on the media side, is where we get the lovely Miranda Devine, who is absolutely amazing. She's, I don't know if she works for CBS, ABC. She very much was part of the a media company that's, the FBI and the Bidens came to the media place that she worked at and said, hey, we want you to suppress these stories about the laptop. Like, we don't want this out in the public. Let's hide them, all this stuff. Same with John Solomon. He also comes from the media. And so anyways, yeah, this is going to definitely be, I feel like, the project that is going to really break the internet and come out and be the explosion for Fruition Productions as well as Empower Oversight. But the majority of the interviews are done. We have an Indiegogo for people if they want to come visit the site. It should be up later this week on Empower's through Empower Oversight's page. I'll get that to everyone. Or if you want to just add Fruition Productions and Empower.
I do have that clip. I can't remember how long it is, but do you want me to play the Shielded by Power clip?
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah, guys, this is pretty interesting. Also, for you guys, I just shared the link to the after space for those of you who can join us at 10:10 on X. Let me get this in here. Get you back up here. Yeah, this is going to be awesome, you guys. And here you go. Play.
We choose unity over division. We choose science over fiction. And yes, we choose truth over lies.
Hunter Biden was providing millions of dollars for the benefit of the Biden family through an influence peddling scheme. My name is Gary Shapley. I'm a supervisory special agent of the International Tax and Financial Crimes Group. Hunter Biden's laptop was a smoking gun. It connected Joe Biden to Hunter Biden's businesses.
How many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business.
I've never discussed my business or their business, my sons or daughters.
In April of 2014, Hunter Biden joins the board of directors for a Ukrainian oil and gas company called Burisma.
And he didn't have a job until you became vice president. And once you became vice president, he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow, and various other places.
Now you have this person who is being essentially paid for being on the board of directors of this Ukrainian oil and gas company who had no experience, no justification for doing that.
No, I wasn't. I don't. Were you? No.
What he's showing here is evidence that the Biden campaign colluded with big tech to suppress a story that we now know is 100% true.
Quote, Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe.
The FBI came to us. It was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda.
So this was effectively the FBI pre-bunking our story. So it was not difficult for them to pull it offline because they thought they were doing what the FBI wanted them to do.
My name is Joe Ziegler. I'm a special agent for the IRS Criminal Investigation Division. Hunter Biden committed massive tax crimes. And instead of letting the investigators do their job, I was shut down at every step of the way. Every step of the way.
My son has not made money. It's not true.
The conduct was so egregious, I was forced to make the decision to blow the whistle. The Department of Justice completely handcuffed us. They moved the case to Delaware. The whole purpose of DOJ and Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office was to conceal that, hide that evidence until the election happened.
They were going to the defense counsel and telling them about the search warrant.
They tipped off Hunter Biden that he was going to be interviewed.
Should we ask Rob Walker about 10% held by H for the big guy? And the AUSA at the time goes, no, we're not asking that.
Today, I sit here before you, not as a hero or a victim, but as a whistleblower compelled to disclose the truth.
The cycle of villainizing or canonizing government employees who report what they believe is wrongdoing has to stop.
Joe said, I am a Democrat. I put my career on the line to bring this information forward. I have risked threats to my family.
I knew it was going to be a lot in coming forward, but I knew it was also the right thing to do. They had to see my face. I had to testify in front of this committee.
Both Mr. Shapley and Mr. Ziegler had stellar recommendations. Their reputation for taking on the tough cases, to find out people who weren't paying their taxes, who were doing things wrong. These were the go-to guys. Everything pointed to their credibility. Their story stood up. Their story was true. These are good, honorable people.
The American people saw they were heroes. And they were the best witnesses I've ever had. I don't know how many oversight committee hearings I've attended. There've never been two better witnesses.
Hunter Biden is expected to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax crimes.
And now we have some of the results. The jury finds Hunter Biden guilty.
Did you witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. Will he pardon his son? No. He said he would not pardon his son.
No, I'm not pardoning him.
President Biden is expected to issue a pardon for his son, Hunter.
There's no question that this was a willful act of obstruction. These people should be held accountable.
The only way you overcome the power of government is when there's good patriotic people
within the bureaucracy that's willing to come forth and expose the fraud and the cover-up and the political weaponization and put a damper on the power of government.
That is incredible.
Oh,
that is incredible. So tell me, okay, like I have to laugh. You know, I will not pardon my son.
I know.
President Biden. It's like,
Pardon
yeah.
his son.
I saw a lot of real ones in there. You know, so the Congress people that are in there.
Chuck
Grassley.
Jordan. Yep.
Yes, you know who the real ones are. They've been doing the work in the background for a really long time now, so it's pretty awesome. You're working. So, is the new film that you're working on the Hunter Biden laptop? So, are you kind of working with Empower Oversight on the film as co-producers?
Yes. So they came to us after XRP Unleashed and said, you know, we may have a story for you that we think you'd be, you know, after seeing the film, they're like, we would love you, Chris, you know, Fruition, to put it together. And it's about the Hunter Biden laptop story. And so really this has been in process, honestly, since after XRP Unleashed was first released. So back in November of 24, probably by January of 25, Tristan and Jason came to us and said, hey, we would love for you to tell this story. Let's partner on this, and we'll help you with the connections to, you know, Congress and to some of these media individuals and all this stuff. So it's been about a year that we've been, you know, connecting with people and doing these interviews. So we pretty much have almost all the interviews put together. Now we are just needing, we do have an Indiegogo that's going to go live this week. And we're just needing just to fundraise just a little bit of money for the post-production to put it all together and such. So any help from the community would be great. We do have other donors and people we're going to, but really this is I think this is definitely, you know, a community-based story, and it's important to, you know, tell this story and bring it to the masses. So yeah.
Man, I did want to mention to the audience too, I put the link in there. If you guys aren't following their YouTube channel, youtube.com, Fruition_films is where you can find it. And there's actually a live that you guys did.
Yes. On
that
the
is
20th. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours and I don't know, 50 minutes. It was a long long talk on it. It's pretty
with all
sweet.
those individuals, every single one of those individuals came on the live and to announce the project and to tell a little bit of their story within the Hunter Biden story, right? So yeah, if anyone wants to watch that live, please go to Fruition Productions YouTube channel. You can watch it there, or you can watch it on Empower Oversight's exit. The thing is it was so unfortunate. We've been shadow banned and from X accounts, so we couldn't stream it to our audience. And so but you can watch it on our YouTube or Empower Oversight's on their socials. But it is definitely worth watching. About 2.5 hours of each individual coming in and saying, you know, not just announcing it, but saying a little bits and pieces of their involvement and their parts in the Hunter Biden story, right? So, yeah.
Man, I will tell you this, and little things I've learned. You probably can upload it, and it's probably even more effective. I found on X to actually upload the videos instead of streaming them.
And
so if I were you, you could upload it. I'm not sure what the limitation is, but I've uploaded a longer ones, and they seem to take it. So But again, going over to the YouTube channel, if you're not following and subscribe to it, please do, guys. Get these guys out there as much as you can.
Our YouTube channel, we had one with maybe about 3,500 people, and that one got banned. And so we're starting over with our YouTube channel too. But
it's not for the meek and mild, right? Like it's one of these things that's really difficult. I was going to go to in any event, I'm going to share my screen for I think I did it. Oh, here we go. For the Fruition Productions. Now, I bought my ticket to the film. But as you can see, the current projects that are out there, you guys, you can go and you can buy. You just click on the buy. It's really easy. You can click on the buy and watch Money Disrupted. You could subscribe to receive news and updates, so that's pretty cool. And there's also Rigged from the Start is there, aka XRP Unleashed. So be sure to go and check it, and you can watch it on all these platforms. And that's also pretty cool.
Oh yeah, for Rigged from the Start, XRP Unleashed. If you don't want to go to our website, if it's easier to go, we have it on Amazon, we have it on Apple TV as well. And at some point, we are going to put Money Disrupted on Amazon. To be honest, we would appreciate if you came to our website and bought the film, because a lot of these platforms are stingy and they take, Amazon alone takes about 50%, 60% of your profits just for putting it up there. But, whatever is easiest for you to access the film, wherever is easiest. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how much money, although, and maybe we could talk about this a little bit more after, and maybe Niall will stop by, but we definitely have put you in contact. Those of you who watch this show every week and watch Digital Ladies on Monday nights, you know that we stream live to imutv.tv. They have incredible stuff coming out here. He's going to have a space on Thursday to talk all about it. But they have figured out the magic sauce to lockdown content so that people can't download your movies and videos and songs and all the things. And so I think that's an incredible opportunity to get films like this on the ledger, lock them down, and have them, forever more in history. They're never going to be able to delete you, right? And that's what we fight against on a daily basis. Is truth tellers a lot of times do they get locked out. But we've been fighting against that. Now we got a couple minutes left, and super excited about the Hunter Biden laptop. But your husband Chris is where right now, Maya?
He is in Alaska right now in the freezing cold. I think the high is maybe it's like 8 degrees and the low was -10 all week. So I'm glad I'm missing that trip. That's for sure. But he is in Alaska right now. He is doing a project that I think, I think Chris is really enjoying this project after all kind of the intensity and the craziness of Money Disrupted, of even the launch of the Hunter Biden film. This project is closer to nature, closer to finding yourself within nature. But it's a veteran project that he's doing where he is filming. It's kind of a slice of life project where he's filming this veteran who is a chaplain. He works for the military. He's a chaplain. And actually, we got connected with this project because of Battle Dogs. I don't know if you guys remember Battle Dogs from a couple of years ago with XRP Unleashed, but we reconnected with them and now have the opportunity to film. Chris is enjoying filming this veteran who, for the next 6 days up in Alaska, who will be learning how to do his own sled, sled riding, ice fishing, all this stuff. Battle Dogs is a nonprofit for for veterans and anyone who has PTSD or needs kind of to reconnect with the universe again. This nonprofit is absolutely amazing. So check out Battle Dogs.
They're part of ARC Institute too, with Patrick Riley and all of that, and they're on the blockchain, and so that is really exciting too. That's another connection for you.
That's another connection, exactly. And so I think it's a great story because, here's a guy who's a chaplain in the military who's lost faith in God and who is now coming to Alaska for the next week and trying to reconnect with nature and find himself again. And I know that can relate to a lot of people. And we're hoping to get this film actually pitching it to Angel Studios. We have connections with Angel Studios. And so I think Chris is really enjoying that it is something kind of, closer to home and more spiritual and more connected to the human experience of what it is to be human. So, yeah. So I
really like the fact that you're tackling some really heavy subjects, right? And some of it can be kind of a downer, like we engulf ourselves in truth so much, and you're like, thank you, sir. May I have another? Like, smack me in the face again, sir, please. And so for you to kind of dive out into some feel-good story, some humanity story, bring it back around full circle is really awesome. And I wish you the best of luck with getting it out to Angel Studios. But if you don't, just know that you do have a lot of folks that are in your corner, and we want to watch that kind of stuff. And again, that could be that could also be on imutv.tv. I'm just saying, it's the kind of stuff that we all want to see. So I think that's fantastic. I don't know if anyone has any questions. We have we have like 5 or 6 minutes. Somebody is asking for my husband. I don't know. I'm not sure what the question was. What's the nonprofit again? I think that's what she's asking. That's the Battle Dogs. Battle Dogs is the name of the nonprofit that they're working for. This has just been there's so many different topics you could dive into. And but I don't blame you right now. Alaska is quite cold.
Yes. I mean, as you can see, I'm even cold in 70-something degree weather here. So
it's freezing here in Michigan too. It's bad. I'm just getting over being sick. Like it just doesn't want to leave me. If you can notice, my nose is I'm so nasally right now. And I apologize if I'm talking loud because I literally cannot hear myself. And I talk loud anyway, so I know I probably am so loud.
I think you were great. No, I didn't hear. You're not talking loud at all. So
let's see what Opti says. She loves you so much. Magical internet friends, empowering the world through knowledge. You guys rock my world. So proud to call you my friends, let alone besties. Like, how did I get so lucky? We got lucky, Opti.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, she's your old school one. Oh, Michigander sister. Hillary, are you in Michigan? Tell me you're not in Michigan. Oh, let's go. I did not know that. How did I not know that? This is fantastic. Maia always looks cold.
That's true.
Oh, that's great. Oh yeah. No, there's just there's so much happening in the world. You're never going to have a shortage on things that you could do these documentaries on. And, you hit it out of the park with XRP Unleashed, a rig from the start. And this next one, I could just see just the snowball effect where it just keeps going and going. And then, of course, like all of the content, I mean, you can't put every single thing. It has to be pared down into a 2-hour film. And all of the greats that you were able to interview and have on this film is like, man, I like that. Those interviews alone as one-offs, I think is just fantastic. I'm so excited for you guys. Like I said, guys, I loved the film. It was I was able to listen to it. Like I actually want to watch it now because I was listening and working at the same time, and I kept stopping and watching and stopping and watching, but I just listened to it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And someone mentioned in the comments they really liked the music and the sound effects during the film. And I don't know who there was a song that's played in the film, and I was looking to see
at the end
the credits. Yeah, that was a really good
Chris
song.
Is going to release that song. He found that, and I love it because it's a perfect song.
So good.
The feeling of the way that artist sings it. Yeah.
Absolutely. You have any final thoughts, Maya, on any of this? Please.
No, I just thank you so much for having me on your show, and it's been a pleasure. And thank you to the community. Every day it's just one step at a time, and just going back to believe in yourself and just keep going. We hope to continue to tell truth and tell stories, and to get the truth out there, because no one else is going to. And for all of the content creators such as yourself, keep going, keep pushing that truth out there as well. And, thank you again for having me. And we want to continue to just tell these stories. So we're hoping to even go into possibly after the Biden film, even maybe shed light on the COVID vaccine, or Epstein files. So have some connections there too, but I'll talk about that stuff later on this year. So, but yeah, just appreciate it, because we really, I think the best thing we can do now as people is just realize we're all in this together. Help each other, whether it's connecting someone to an individual to say, hey, I was fortunate enough to be able to interview this person. Let me connect you to them, or to help them in any way on their platforms, whether it's purchasing a film or purchasing a product or something. And if it can't be through financial means, then just emotionally or mentally, just listening in, and sharing the information with those individuals that are still not awake yet, right? There's so many people that are still not awake. So
so many,
it's up to you guys.
It's
up to us.
Yes,
yeah.
It is up to us. We are the world changers, and we are powerful, guys. We really are. And it's a chain reaction. And like you say, you give that positive reinforcement, to with the people that are stepping up to do it, give them some love, show them some love, encourage them to keep going, because we need them, right? We need this for each other. So yeah, I'm just so thankful to you and Chris and all of your efforts, and everybody that supports you guys. It's fantastic. There's some folks out there that are saying they can't afford it and all of this. And it sucks when you don't have enough money to even get a $20 ticket. But eventually, like maybe Dipito will do a contest or something, and we'll come up with some tickets for some folks. We'll buy.
We should talk about that. We could create kind of a
Let's create a contest for some folks that they can get it. What I don't want to see happen is people buy it and share it freely, because this is eventually when it's down the road, and then maybe you can, but right
we plan
now
on releasing it eventually for free,
when it's coming out the gate, let's show some love and support. I do encourage everybody, and Maya, if you can come, that'd be fantastic to come to the after space kind of have conversation with some of these folks that are in here, because they are just chomping at the bit. But I would love it if you did. And with that, guys, I love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you for the new subscriptions. Thank you, Maya. We missed you, Chris, but eventually we will have you back on as well. And with that, we will see you guys in the after space at 10:10, and have a good evening. If I could do this right, we're gonna be doing it. Let's go.
Step right up, let's take the dive. Crypto world is coming alive. From XRP to the blockchain beat. Join the crew where pioneers meet. Got builders, dreamers paving the way. Multi-chain vibes, we're here to stay. Wanna know? Don't wait, let's go. Dip a toe, join the Web3 flow. Take a step, explore the scene. Dip a toe, show, living the dream. From the legend to the stars we climb. Crypto's future, it's our time. Dip a toe, yeah, take that chance. Join the vibe, let's crypto dance. Faces of crypto, stories we share. Early adopters, they're everywhere. From XRP to the Web3.